Cristiano Ronaldo. And it's Mandzukic. And Mandzukic hits that long. Bernardeschi! There it is! The breakthrough strike!
Hey, this is Oscar Diaz filling in for freelancer Richard Wakeling on his PES 2019 review. PES 2019 feels like the beginning of an exciting new era for Konami's long-running football series. Visuals have received a much-needed overhaul and the on-pitch action has been tightened up, refined and improved. The series' lack of impactful licenses and insipid UI and commentary are issues that persist, but PES 2019 builds on what was already a runaway title winner to set a new high bar for the series. PES still adopts the same methodical pace, tangible sense of weight and breadth of passing as it did last year, but after a couple of matches you begin to notice subtle changes that gradually add up. Passing, for example, has been improved with a bunch of new animations, bringing each kick of the ball to life with startling accuracy. Players are intelligent enough to contextually know what pass to play and when, giving you a greater sense of control over each passing move. The fluidity of players' movement and the responsiveness behind each button press lead to moments of scintillating football, whether you're patiently building from the back, carving a team open with a clinical counter-attack, or hoofing it up to your big target man. Ball physics have been reworked and greatly contribute to this too, making that little white sphere feel considerably more like a separate entity than ever before. There's an authentic flow and unpredictability to the way the ball moves, curling and dipping through the air, spinning off a goalkeeper's fingertips and neatly coming under your control. There's also more physicality to matches in PES 2019, with players realistically jostling for position and barging each other off the ball. There are few better feelings in PES than leaving a defender for dead with an eye-opening piece of skill, and this feeds into an added emphasis on player individuality. Cut inside with Lionel Messi, and he's liable to flick the ball over the outstretched leg of a defender, using his low centre of gravity to peel past them, before rasping a left-footed shot into the bottom corner. Paul Pogba will saunter around the midfield, finding pockets of space and using his large frame to maintain possession. And Cristiano Ronaldo will hang in the air on crosses for what feels like an eternity. It's not all roses, however, as it does still share some of the more disappointing aspects of its predecessors. Referees, for example, are maddeningly inconsistent, both too lenient and too harsh in the same match, while match presentation is bland and lifeless. A new naturalistic lighting engine produces some stunning sights, but the UI surrounding it still feels trapped in the past, and stalwart commentators Peter Drury and Jim Beglin return with the same disjointed dialogue we've come to know and hate.
World and his wife have gone to great lengths to be here for a match of great consequence.
And PES is still trailing FIFA when it comes to official licensing, with the loss of the Champions League and Europa League licenses to EA a case in point. Konami has responded by obtaining more licensed leagues than ever before, but these aren't the standout leagues that are going to move the needle in the same way the Premier League or La Liga would. Thankfully, the PES community does an amazing job creating update files if you want to mod in the teams, players and kits that are missing, but this is only possible on PS4 and PC. Disappointingly, Master League remains almost untouched. The International Champions Cup debuts as a short pre-season tournament, and transfer negotiations have been slightly reworked, giving you more flexibility when it comes to player fees and contracts. At least goalkeepers have finally seen some enhancements. They're essentially useless when rushing off the goal line, regularly failing to close down an attacking player's angles, but this is where the faults end. They've been blessed with a range of new animations that banish their previously robotic nature as they pull off some eye-catching fingertip saves. You'll need your keeper to be in top form in the later stages of a match too. The stamina system in PES 2019 has been reworked to place significantly more importance on your player's fitness. This visible fatigue feature means you can run a team ragged to see them look increasingly leggy as the match wears on, potentially opening up space for you to exploit with fresh legs off the bench. This isn't a one-way street though, as you'll need to be mindful of your own player's stamina as well. This forces you to play a more considered game of football, sprinting only when it's absolutely necessary and making timely substitutions when the situation calls for it. This is a game-changing feature, and it wonderfully complements PES's brand of authentic, methodical football. PES 2019's online servers are surprisingly stable, considering the series' history of troubled connections, and My Club introduces a few changes to its Ultimate Team-esque formula. Feature players are now released each week, with outstanding performances in the real world translating to attribute boosts in PES. The way you obtain new players has changed too, with players bundled in packs of 4 as opposed to the single player you would get in previous iterations. Ultimately, these tweaks don't alter the structure of My Club too much, but it's a fun mode to engage with, purely to play more of PES's outstanding brand of football. For as long as EA continues to develop FIFA and hold a monopoly over official licenses, PES will always be the scrappy underdog, just hoping for a surprise upset. The lack of licenses for top-tier leagues remains a sticking point, but PES continues to make brilliant strides on the pitch, building on what was already an incredibly satisfying game of football to produce one of the greatest playing football games of all time.
Paris Saint-Germain no doubt by the yellow card.